Hello, everybody who's listening. This is Advait, and today we have with us a classmate of mine who I have met only this year when I went to school at Digital Film Academy. His name is Elias Azar. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And you, I just want you to give your own introduction because I, in fact, don't know a lot about you because we have just met this year. So I am really looking forward to this conversation because not only because I want others to know, but I also want to know a lot about you and your culture and where you come from. So take it away. Just introduce yourself.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Advait. So, my name is Elias. I'm from Morocco. I worked in my dad's company in Morocco, where I worked as a camera operator and video editor in mostly TV documentaries. So, and I've been coming to New York for past 3 years, where I was doing some videos on my own, but just about the city because I felt so inspired here. And yeah, and now I'm joining a school here in New York City.
Yeah, I think everybody. It happens to everybody that they get inspired by New York City or people you watch in New York City. So who were the creators that you watched that those were from New York City, or what were the New York based films or so that inspired you?
Um, I mean, I feel like there's been a difference, but at first I definitely was inspired by Casey Neistat. Yeah, when I discovered him, it was like a whole revolution in my head, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is the life that I want. This is the things that I want to do. This is the attitude I want to have." Uh, I mean, right now I have different people that I admire, but it's more
Right.
um, they're less known. It's more like some niche directors that I see
Hmm.
do some commercials that I like or some music videos that I like.
Right.
But it all started with Casey Neistat for sure.
Yeah. It with this city for me as well. It started with Casey Neistat, and I think a lot of us creatives owe our career to Casey Neistat and his vlogs because it's not just us who have been inspired by him and his videos, but a lot of other creators who are now like 5 million strong, or the creators who are what they are right now are also doing that just because they started watching Casey Neistat and they got inspired by him to create something of their own. And today they are also successful creators. So I think a lot of us in the creative filmmaking field owe a lot to Casey Neistat. So yeah, it is quite something. So I wanted to start off by asking you, how has America been for you? Because I came here just this year in 2020, that too just for school. I mean, I came here just to start school, but you have been coming here since the past 3 years. And how has that been? How has being going to and fro from here to Morocco, and how has America treated you so far?
Um, I mean, there's definitely a difference I think between New York and the rest of the U.S. New
Yeah.
York is the people of New York are extraordinary. I remember one night in 2016, it was summer, so it was hot at night. So I just took my camera and I started going outside and just shooting random scenes, and nobody gave me a hard time about shooting them. Everybody was nice. I had a couple of smiles. I got some weird looks, but they were intrigued looks, not angry looks. And of course there was a lot of colors and a lot of architecture. So when you get your camera and you look at the viewfinder in New York, and you see that there's something that is interesting in every direction you shoot at. So I think that's
Yeah.
helped me to it gave me the idea that yes, you can just take your camera out and go anywhere and just shoot, and you'll find something interesting in
That
any
is
place
that is
you
true.
shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true. And
Yeah.
how has it been going to and fro from Morocco and say New York City? Have you been only in New York City since the past 3 years, or have you been anywhere else in America?
I've been like some other place. I've been like in Washington D.C. and
Oh,
Richmond, and no, actually no. I started with these cities, and then I did a road trip last year where
oh,
I
that's great.
yeah, it was really nice. I went like to Florida and New Orleans and anywhere in between. That
Okay.
was like a great trip. Like, because before, when I was in New York City, like just when I was coming to US and just like staying in New York City, after a while, it feels like a little like you're in some sort of, I don't want to say prison, but it feels like you're, I mean, it's an island, so you're like surrounded
Yeah.
by water, so you feel like you're trapped in it.
Yeah.
And we don't have a car, definitely you feel like trapped.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
with like friends like that are like outside of New York City, I was able like to travel around, and it's a totally different like atmosphere. So it was like really interesting, and the US is like so big
It
that like,
is so big.
it is so big,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel like just one country.
It does not actually, and the population is so less. I mean, according to the area that this country has, according to the land mass this country has, the population is so less, and that's why New York City is very populated,
Yeah,
obviously, and there is a lot. There a lot of people stay here in New York City, but when you go to other cities and other towns, you realize how much space they actually have, because one house has so much space. They have a front yard, they have a backyard, they have a pool, and it's equally expensive as a New York City house, which is like 5 times smaller than that.
yeah,
But yeah, that's a contrast in and itself of this country. And I think that's really interesting to see. I'm guessing when you went to Florida, you might have seen on your way or in Florida that the houses and the space, there's a lot of difference in that, because there is just so much space in this country and are comparatively very less people. I come from India, which is the second most populated country in the world. That's
yeah,
why I feel that on another level, because I'm used to seeing so many people around. I'm in New York City, so I do see a lot of people around. But recently, I went to Atlantic City, and on my way there, there was so much of nothing. Because when you go on a road trip, you realize that there's just no people staying here. It's just a lawn. It's just a forest. It was pretty crazy.
yeah. Exactly. Like New York City is like just like from one block to one block. There's like so many things that are like different and interesting, and then that same distance like outside of New York City is just the same. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I also feel that, because New York City is also very different in different regions. I think, like you said, every block has its own thing, and maybe in Brooklyn or Queens, they all have a thing of their own, and they're all different in their own sense. But one thing that is common throughout all of New York City is the infrastructure, and I guess the colors that you
Yeah,
see and the people that you see. There are so many different kinds of people, and it's not just one race or one ethnicity of people. It's like literally everyone's here in New York City, and yeah, I think that is great.
yeah. I remember it reminds me like when I first got here in New York. Like just like the first few days, I would just like take the subway and just stop at a random subway station, and then like I would do that every day. Like I would go somewhere else, and then I would like just walk, like just take the wrong right turn or something, and then realize that this neighborhood that I saw last time, and it was like completely different from this one that I saw today. They're just right next to each other, and it
Yeah,
would like, blow my mind. I remember also like just staring at the buildings. New York City has like such history, like you can definitely like see it in the buildings. I
yeah.
remember
Oh, yeah.
just in and just staring at the buildings, and I would like, I don't know, it would like really, I would like see the details, and I'm like, oh my god, somebody like 100 years ago took the time to like these
Yeah,
details, and it's so interesting. So
it is. It is. all the stone buildings that you see, it is so mind blowing to see all the details in them, and it's just amazing what architecture New York has had and still continues to have. Like all the skyscrapers that are in the skyline now, and compare them to all the 100 200 year old buildings that they have, both of them look equally amazing, and I think they are just doing a great job of designing the buildings, whoever is in charge.
Yeah, and that's why I think like one of the reasons why there's so many artists here, because everywhere you go, you see like what somebody did, and that
Yeah,
inspires. I mean, the number one like place where you get inspired is like from other people's work, and just walking from like in the streets of New York and you see people's work, you get inspired.
right. It is
Should be,
it is a piece of art in every street you go.
yeah, which is different if you like live outside New York City in the suburbs where all the houses look the same,
Yeah,
where things are the same size. Like just New York City streets are like not all the same size. I mean, like one is like I don't know. It's just like so different.
yeah. It is a planned city, but it is still very different on every single block. Like the whole city is planned throughout, but still you can tell the difference when you go from this block to that block. You will immediately know that if you're suppose you're in Koreatown, you will know as soon as you step out of that subway station, you know you are in Koreatown. If you're in Chinatown, you will know immediately that you are in Chinatown, and it is so obvious. And like you said, it just matters from block to block. It is so good, the architecture, everything.
Yeah.
The next thing that I wanted to ask you and talk to you about is coming from a film family, because your dad has a production company in Morocco. Your sister is a DP here in New York City, and she also went to our school 2 years ago. So your father is in film production. Your sister is also in the film industry. So did they inspire you, or was there some sort of pressure on you to be in this field, or did you just grow up watching them and getting interested and excited about this field? I want to know about what your journey has been from being not a filmmaker to a filmmaker.
Um, I never had this conversation about my sister, like how why she decided to like really become like work in the field. But I like just personally like when I was little, like I don't know, like 10, 12 or something like that, just seeing my dad like not having to wake up in the morning and like having to go to work and then not seeing him until 5 and things like that like is probably like the number one reason why I wanted to work in this field. And then I also liked how he would like always be like we would be just watching TV in the living room, and my dad worked a lot on TV, so we would be watching TV and he's like just zaps and he sees like an interesting concept for a show or like an interesting concept of like set design, and
Hmm.
he would just like start talking to about it and analyzing it. So he made me like notice things that I didn't notice before, or like even in the movies. And then he's like, "Oh, look at the plot here, and look how like the actors is like good or bad." And he would like talk about that, and it made me realize like how there's like so many things that have been put to work to like make this final
Hmm.
product. And of course, like when he was working, it was like so great to like I was like feeling proud to like see something that he was talking about it before, and he
Right,
was just talking about it, and now I finally see it.
right.
And I think that's like the reason like why also I really wanted like I was decided like from a young age to work in this field, just like the ideas you talk about and then you transform them into visuals and then everybody can see exactly what you had in your mind.
Right. Yeah,
I don't think
that is
they
great. That Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
yeah, I was gonna say just like to answer your question, I don't think they ever like pressured me
Yeah, yeah.
or really
No, but
asked
did you
me to
did
like
you
what I
feel
wanted to do.
did you yourself feel a pressure, like on your own? They never pressured you. Did you feel like, oh, I am coming from this family and I have to have this certain amount of skill or something like that?
Uh Yeah, I mean, I definitely have like this like thing that are like when I don't like something that I made or like I'm not sure about something that I made, I don't want to show it to like my family
Yeah,
or like
because they will judge it.
scared or yeah, they're like my number one. Like, I mean, I'm okay with criticism, but when it's in my family, it's always like a little harder, just because I don't because I don't know. It's your family, but they're also in the field, so it's like
Yeah.
harder. Like I think he's like worried about what his family is gonna think of his work, but when
Hmm.
they're also in the field, it's like gets worse because they notice the little details,
Yeah, they
and they're
know
gonna be
all
like, "Oh, why did you
yeah,
use that?"
and
So
they
yeah,
know
I
all
kind
the
of feel pressure like
alternatives.
a lot of times.
Yeah, they know the
Yeah,
alternatives. They will tell you why did you do this and not this, and then you're like, oh shit, I screwed
yeah,
up. So yeah, that is the pressure I was asking about. So there is always going to be that pressure on you that you're not doing as well. But I think it also, on the flip side, it also helps a lot because if there is literally anything you need, you just have to dial a number that you know is always
yeah,
going to answer. So maybe your dad or your sister, you can always look to them
yeah,
for help.
yeah. That's definitely like super useful to like having someone you trust and is available like anytime to help you with your questions and your doubts. Yeah,
So I felt great hearing that since childhood, whenever you used to sit with your dad to watch a movie or something, he used to tell you what is actually going on in the movie and how things are made, which I find really interesting because up till a certain age, I had no idea how they were doing things in the movies. I would always be confused. Okay, how is this happening? How did they do this? But I think you always had that inside information, which I think is great, which is a great, I think you have had a great learning experience since you were a child. So that's a great thing.
yeah. I mean, I would add to that that when somebody like explains to you like how they do things in movies, it makes you like feel like you can do it too, and then
Yeah.
nothing is like really impossible. And he was definitely like the spark, and then I started like looking at like behind the scenes pictures and behind the scene videos, and then I'm like, oh my god, this is how they did this. And yeah, it was that he was definitely like the family. My family was probably like the spark for me to like look more into it and try to make more research about it, about filmmaking.
Right. That is great. That is a great experience that you have had since you were a child. Okay, so one thing I am personally curious about is what is film and TV like in Morocco?
Well, I feel like TV is a big part of like um, audiovisual content, like you people like see in
Yeah.
Morocco. We don't have any private networks, so we only have like public television, which is like about like 8 channels that are like partially um, government funded, and then they also get revenue from the ads. And it's uh, it's also like interesting because like um, most people like in Morocco watch TV during the month of Ramadan.
Oh.
So
Oh, because they're all like home?
because usually in Ramadan the whole family like stays at home, and then they just like have break the fast together, and then
Right,
they
right,
stay
right,
like
right.
together in the room. So
Right.
there's like a lot of like heavy production like between, I would say, between December and before summer, and between December and April. Like that's where like everybody's working at the same time in Morocco,
Hmm.
producing like TV shows, TV movies, um, also like small formats too. And also like on the side, there's like the for cinema in Morocco, it's also like a lot government funded.
Hmm.
So the government definitely like helps a lot. There's like a dedicated fund that helps you like get, I would say, 60 to 70% of your budget for your movie for cinema.
That is
Um,
great.
yeah, they also like have like they help a lot like foreign productions in Morocco. So it's good, but at the same time, it's also a little bad because I would say that I don't think there's enough like we have a problem in Morocco of like not having enough movie theaters. They're closing more and more. People are really like, I mean, not going that much to movie theaters.
Oh,
So,
okay.
um, so it like, I wish there was like more private like investment in Morocco, like for movies,
Hmm.
because when like it's the government that gives you money for your movie, a lot of times like movies are not that good because people don't care about like whether or not the public's gonna like it, or if they're gonna really get their revenue.
Right.
So good and bad. So yeah,
Yeah. Both good and bad. That's great. So, your father's company in Morocco, they mainly focus on TV shows.
yeah. He mainly like produces shows and documentaries for TV.
Okay, that is great. Well, I found out something today. So yeah, and it is for where I come from. It is very different because India has the most number of people that go to watch movies in movie theaters in the whole world because we have a very good industry setup. We call it Bollywood. The world calls it Bollywood, and the Indian film industry it's quite epic. It's been there for quite some time now, and there are a lot of people who are fan of movies, and TV shows are not that much are seen. I mean, they have been for quite some time, but I think there are so many people who love movies and they actually go out and watch movies in the theater, and I have done that myself. In the year, I guess 2012 or 13, I watched around 45 movies in theater in 1 year. So that's quite a lot.
Yeah, Indian movies are big in Morocco.
Oh, really? I had no idea about that.
Yeah, like because there's like a report for like the most watched movies like that has been done like every year, and I think the Indian movies are like the third most watched like in Moroccan movie theaters. Number one is USA.
Yeah, of
Number
course.
two is Morocco. I think third is like India.
Oh, that's great. I had no idea about that. That's great.
Yeah, I also like have a lot of like when I was little, I used to watch a lot of Moroccan TV, and especially like they used to like broadcast like movies Tuesdays and Sundays at night, and this is like before you could like really stream anything. So
Yeah.
that's where you get like movies or DVDs. And yeah, I watched like a lot of Indian movies back then because they would just
Oh,
broadcast them like Sunday at night.
that's
Yeah.
that's great. That's good to know. That's good to know. Okay, so the next part that I want to talk about is what is the culture like in Morocco? Because where I come from, where in India we have a very rich culture, and we have a lot of different cultures, different people. So how is the culture in Morocco like? What is it, and how different is it from America? I know it must be very different, but I just want to draw any similarities if there are any between India and Morocco culture wise. So how is the culture like in Morocco?
Yeah, the culture in Morocco is pretty diverse. Uh, yeah, probably not as diverse in India, but yeah. The people, I mean, in Morocco, we speak like three languages, which is Arabic and Amazigh, Tamazight, and French. Tamazight is like the native North African uh,
Hmm.
language and people, and we're all like mixed together.
Hmm.
But at the same time, like each has like, I mean, we share like each other's culture is what I mean. Like from the people from different like it back. I don't
Right.
know how to say. I mean, yeah, and so like in the north of Morocco, it's like different culture that's like more relaxed, and people like some people there like even speak Spanish,
Oh.
and there's like a lot of Spanish influence there. And then people in the south, like in the Sahara, also have like their own like rich culture, and their dialect is a little different. And in the middle, it's like the Atlas Mountain. That's where most people like live in mountains, and again, have like a different lifestyle, um, and it's great that it's like close. I mean, India is really big country, but Morocco is
Oh
like
yeah.
pretty small, so you can get from point like you can get like from the north to the south of Morocco in like 8 hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
that is fun.
so even like the so it's like a different like subculture, but it's
Hmm.
like close, so everybody shares each other's things. I mean,
Right. I got it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. How different has it been coming to America? Because both our countries have very different cultures. And what are one of the few experiences that you had when you got here? Because whenever someone who's a person of color who's not from the western side of the world, whenever they come to America, there are some certain culture shocks that they get. Oh, this is how they do it here. So what was that for you? There must have been some things.
let me think of it. I mean, the thing is, like, we've seen, like, I mean, Morocco, like, I've seen so many American movies and TV shows. That's how even, like, I learned English, was just, I learned English, like, with Game of Thrones and other TV shows where, like, I, I remember, like, Game of Thrones, I watched the first, second, and third season in French. And
Oh,
then the fourth season, like, haven't been dubbed yet. So I had to watch it in English with
hmm.
subtitles. And that's how I like started picking out like on things like that. And I also watched at the same time How I Met Your Mother too in English. And How I Met Your Mother was in New York, so they were like
Yeah,
introducing me to a lot of like things here. Um,
right.
I don't know, like I feel like New York. I've seen like New York a lot in TV. I was like really, I mean, seeing all these buildings and how huge they are, and the subway and experience the subway was definitely like a shock. But I would say like a big cultural shock was probably like outside the US, where like just the highway is like so huge,
Yeah.
and some houses are so huge, and cars are so huge here for some reason.
Yeah,
I
everybody
don't know, like
has their own pickup truck and it is so huge. It takes up the whole parking spot. I don't know. It was
yeah,
a
I'm
culture
like,
shock
is
for me
this
as well.
exactly? I see some like pickup trucks here in New York, and I'm like, how do you drive this in like such narrow streets and all that?
Yeah.
This thing is huge. Yeah, so like I'd say like big culture shock is like um, how everything is available, like how infrastructure is like so um, everything is like I don't know, like for example, like if you want to bike from New York City to Montreal, like this is something that
Yeah.
I just found out and like really made you can do that. There's a bike road
Okay.
where you can like bike from. So if you're really into biking, you can do that.
Yeah, and
And it's
I
other
don't.
things like
Yeah, and I don't think you even have to bring the bike back because there will be a company who will take your bike from here to there, and then they will just ask you to drop it off. There are a few
yeah,
things. Yeah,
like every service you want
it's available. Yeah, it's just
is
there.
already available.
Yeah,
Every
you just
service like you would, yeah,
you just have to look for it and you will find it because there will be you in when you are back in your country or when I'm back in my country, we don't think of okay, maybe this is too much. I don't think this will exist. But when you get here, there is actually that thing exists and you can actually
yeah.
do that, which is crazy. Yeah, even I felt the same. Even with pickup trucks,
Also,
for the longest time I did not understand why everybody had these pickup trucks and why they needed all that space. But later I realized that it is because
yeah,
I've realized that now because when I see people here in New Jersey, there's a beach in New Jersey. It's a little far, but it's here. So people in the summer they actually buy their own jet skis and then they put their jet ski in the pickup truck and they just take the jet ski to the beach and they just ride it, which I think is completely insane, but it's happening.
yeah,
Yeah. And the
exactly.
thing you were talking about, going from here to like Montreal, which is in Canada, and there are buses available and buses depart every single day from Port Authority for Canada and for different parts of Canada. And it's not even that long of a drive from New York. It's like 6 to 8 hours, which is basically nothing. You just get on a bus at night and you sleep the whole night, and the next morning you're in Canada. So, yeah.
Yeah, I still have done that, but I definitely like, yeah, definitely want to
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
Toronto from New York.
Yeah,
Plus,
I actually I also want to do that. I just it's the visa thing that needs to be sorted out, but I think everything else is perfect. Like
yeah,
they have everything you need in this country, and you just have to look for it and you will find it.
yeah, exactly.
I want to talk about films and what films actually inspired you. And you've always been in this family of filmmakers and productions and everything. You have seen this up close since you were a child, so you're not a stranger to these things. But which films inspired you to make something, or which ads
Yeah.
inspired you to make some ads? Because I know you are interested a lot in advertisements and all that. So uh, what inspired you?
Um, yeah, for I mean, yeah, like you said, I'm really like interested in commercials and music videos because I just like how that's where I think where you get like the craziest. You can put your craziest idea like into in work. Um, I would say like I mean, there's like I mean, when you said it, like I definitely thought about one music video, which was from MIA, which was Bad Girls. So that music video they actually shot in Morocco,
Oh,
and I really liked the idea. I mean, if you haven't seen it, so the idea of the music video is like women driving like cars, and they do this crazy like tricks where they flip the car this way and keep driving them, and they do like crazy drifts with them, and and then I saw the. I mean, I'm really glad like when people really take the time to make a making of or behind the scenes, and um, so they had this music video behind the scenes where they explain like how they got stuff from France and they brought them all the way to Morocco,
hmm.
and um, and it was like just a crazy production just to
Right.
make like these ideas come true. And they brought like just crazy equipment from Morocco, from France and the UK. So that definitely like inspired me. I was like, yeah, I want to be one day in the position where I can have an idea and have people like figure it out and put like all the money like to make it happen.
Right. Yeah, that is the dream.
Um, we're talking about movies. I would say like a big inspiration. Like for a long time, I knew I wanted to be a director, but I also like didn't understand the role of it. And
Hmm.
uh, I was like, so what does a director do? And like, I was also freaking out a little. I was like, how does he get ideas? How he does he like know like what to do, like to convey a certain emotion and things like that. And that's where I think like YouTube channels that
Hmm.
analyze movies really help me with that. Because I mean, there's one that comes to my mind. I mean, it's called Every Frame a Painting. uh, the guy stopped doing videos, but it was like really helpful when he would like analyze a Scorsese movie, and he would like show you that this is how he managed to make you feel this way. So um, I would say that inspired me when you're like, oh, this like human being, like I mean, this person like was able to make you feel something just by doing these little things here and here and here
Yeah.
and adding a little music and adding like a little taking I mean also like in the attic when there's like a pause and one shot is like a little longer than this and it changes things differently.
Yeah.
So that's what I think like it me.
Right. That's pretty cool. That is actually pretty cool. What are your are you what are the projects that you want to work on in the coming days? Like now, we are both going to graduate soon, and you're also going to start working from January. So, what are the projects that you are looking forward to doing? Like, what productions do you want to be on?
Actually right now just like start I have like a project of making a music video soon for a band I found on Spotify, and I was like I really want to make a music video for this song. So I reached out to the bands and they were like really happy with it because I was like, I mean, basically, I was like, I'll work for free if you like guys are interested in making a music video, and it's good. Like, I don't know, I think it's really good for your mental health when you work in a project that you really like, even though you're
Yeah,
not getting paid, and you get to be creative and you have like a lot of ideas. So that's like my plan right now, just work for free to just like do what I want to do.
right.
Because I mean, with COVID now, like not being able to do anything for like more than 8 months, I
Yeah,
think it definitely like made me like go a little insane inside. Like I didn't even notice, but I feel like inside I was like really depressed that I wasn't doing anything creative, and I was starting to like lose any creative like thoughts.
right. Yeah, I completely understand that because we've been inside our houses for so long now that now just we are just used to this, and I can't wait for things to open back up and for us to go out and shoot different things. Like we can go out, but it's not the same. It's I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be the same for quite some time now. Like it will take some time for everything to get normal. So apart from that music video, what other things are you interested in? Like you said earlier, you are interested in making commercials. So music videos and commercials, is that your only goal as of right now?
I mean, as of right now, I'm really like trying to build a portfolio, so that's why I'm like focusing on these. But eventually, like I always like say that I'm gonna make a movie, feature film like in Morocco, because
Hmm.
I feel like there's so many stories there that weren't told. Like I'm really inspired in like working in Morocco, way more than I'm like about making a story here, just
Right.
because it's my culture and I know it so well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but again, like I'm not a good screenwriter, so I get like
Yeah, neither am
I don't know.
I. Just suck
That's
at writing.
huge. That's a huge like problem for me because I feel
Hmm.
like I could tell a story. If somebody tells me a story, but I'm not good like at creating a story.
Yeah. I'm I think I am good at creating a story in my head and then telling that story to people or telling people about stories that I've actually experienced. I'm good. I think I'm good at that. But when it comes to writing down dialogue, I think I really suck at dialogue writing. But I'm still trying to figure everything out and trying to learn how to do that. So yeah, I understand what you're going for. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to ask you is that you were living in Brooklyn until I think 2 months ago, and now you have moved to Manhattan, and like properly now you live in the heart of the city and in a very good house. So how what do you feel? How different is Manhattan from Brooklyn, and how do you feel living there?
I would say like the biggest difference has been really not taking the subway. Because when I was like living in the part, like living in Brooklyn, like I had to take the subway to go everywhere, and it would be like, I mean, at best like 35 minutes, but mostly it was like 45 an hour, and it was especially like really bad at night. So not having to take the subway right now has really been a big change. Like I also like started biking places, so I feel like
Oh,
I'm working out. And then, like the thing is, like when you bike to like go somewhere instead of like just running in a treadmill or like a gym is different. You always
yeah,
like
yeah,
push yourself harder because you want to get, and you also want to get there like faster, so you
yeah,
don't like get tired that easy. So I mean, that's like I think the big difference is like I can just walk to places too, and then when I walk or like when I bike, I also like don't listen to music or anything like that. And sometimes I have to bike for like I mean, my sister lives in downtown Manhattan, so I bike for like 15 minutes to get there, and it's just 15 minutes of thinking, and then I'm
right.
thinking about like I get ideas and I'm
Hmm.
like some problems before, and it's just like on my mind, so I think about it too, and then I find some solutions to it. So it's
Right.
great. I mean, the subway is like, I really hate it. It's really like made me hate it because it's depressing that you're like in this box, and the
Yeah,
lighting is so bad, and then the sound of it. Like at
yeah.
first I was fine with it, but I realized soon that like realized like during quarantine how bad it was.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the yellow light
So
is kind of
yeah, I mean
depressing.
that's like what I would say. Like yeah, it's just like you just it feels like you're just pausing your life for the
Yeah.
subway ride.
Yeah. And
Just pause
also,
it and it just wait.
yeah, also
Yeah.
it was a very long ride for you, even to get to school. I think it took you longer than it took me. So yeah, I can understand why you were frustrated with the subway.
I mean, going to school, I think after the second or third week, what I did is like I put like a lot of movies, started downloading movies in my phone, and I would watch a movie a day like this way. I would
Right.
watch like half of it in the morning and half of it in the afternoon, and that was like the only solution that I found to get me through it, like without noticing the subway.
Yeah, because it is so much time on your hands that you can't do anything else other than consume some content. So yeah, it is a great idea watching movies. I also used to do that. When we were actually going to school, on my way back from the school, I always used to listen to some sort of podcast or watch some video. I also used to have movies downloaded on my phone, and I was always watching them or listening to something. So yeah, I understand that. But I also wanted to know, living in Manhattan in the middle of the pandemic is also a very different experience because how has it been? I
Yeah,
you like I know you didn't move there when Corona was at its peak. You moved there after things started to get better, but still, has it been kind of scary to be in Manhattan where there are so many people
yeah,
around at like all the time?
yeah. I moved in like in August 15. And the thing is, like before that, I spent all summer like outside New York City. I spent it like in Virginia,
Oh
um,
yeah, right.
and then I get back to New York. And, and I mean, the good thing is like I mean, I was lucky enough not to like stay in New York when it was like really depressing, and
Mm.
everybody was like staying at home, and the streets were like just weird. So when I got back in August, it wasn't that bad. People were like doing mostly outdoor stuff.
Yeah,
I was
because it
glad
is
that to
summer.
see like here in New York, everybody like understood the importance of wearing a mask.
Yeah, that is one
Like
thing
I
that I
mean,
have observed.
in Virginia, most people like wore masks, but like in New York City, everybody was wearing a mask even when it was unnecessary. Like even outdoor, like I've seen like in Central Park, people running and they would have mask on. So it's like really reassuring. You could find hand sanitizer everywhere you walk.
Yeah.
Um, I really enjoyed the free bus, to be honest. Like the
Yeah,
bus was like free for a while. That was great.
yeah. It was for, like three, like it was
And
it was free for
it
I guess
wasn't
3 months.
crowded. Um,
Yeah, the subway was not crowded
so
for like it is still not crowded because
yeah,
everybody is still at home.
yeah. So I would like take the bus when it's like somewhere that is like far a little, and I would walk the rest. Um, some I don't know. Like I didn't feel like any fear of like COVID because I was looking at the number, and it was like a really low infection rate. I think it was like
1%.
I don't remember what it was, but it was like really low.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, most people that like get tested, like I think 95% of people who got tested were like negative.
yeah.
So I didn't feel
Now,
like that scared of it, and it just makes sense when everybody's like respecting
yeah,
the guidelines.
yeah.
It's just reassuring.
Yeah, that is one thing that I find really amazing about New York and the people of New York, that everybody is taking this seriously. New York was the worst hit in the beginning, but after that, everybody just took everything seriously, and then right now, even if you go right now to Central Park or wherever in New York City, people will follow every rule that has been given by the CDC. People will wear a mask. People will socially distance. There are obviously going to be people who just don't care about anything else, but that's not just a New York thing, that's a global thing. Some people just don't care, but most of the people that I've seen in New York, they do actually care and they are following the rules. So it is reassuring because it's not just you who's protecting yourself. It also depends upon how other people are taking care of things. And that is why some of the other states in USA have been hit so hard, because even if you are doing your part, not everybody else is.
Yeah.
But in New York, I guess everybody and most of the people here are following the rules, and that's why we have that 1% infection rate right now, which is great. It feels so good to go outside without feeling that fear that we were feeling when the pandemic had just hit back in March or April. So yeah, it's very good.
I mean, one thing about New York that I noticed and I love is like how I feel like everybody's in sync. Everybody thinks the same. I mean, I'm not saying like it's the same personality, but like everybody's in sync, like in the same mindset that yeah, this is, we gotta take this thing seriously. We gotta do like our part, and it's, I mean, it's that, but it's also like other things too in New York where I don't know. Like I remember when I was in school, and I would like get back at 5, and that's like also the time like most people get off at work. Everybody had like the same state of mind of I just want to get home.
Yeah.
I'm just tired, and I feel like a lot of compassion like in between each other that like we're all tired. We're all like
Yeah.
just want to go home.
Yeah.
And that's why like I feel like people in New York are think about like the major things. Yeah.
Yeah, that is also where I come from in the city of Mumbai. That is also the thing, because back home in India, I live a little bit upstate, a little bit in the suburbs. So when I am going back home from any sort of work or college or anything, there are people with me. There are a lot of people with me, and all of us are tired. So I get what you're saying. I understand that New York also has this sentiment where everybody knows that it's the end of the day and you're just going to go home, have dinner, and just crash, because everybody works so hard here. That is also, I think, one very New York thing, is that everybody is working much harder than everybody should, I think, because like it is okay if you do this much work, but everybody in New York just wants to put this much effort into everything.
And everybody's like, yeah, you gotta do this. What were you expecting?
Yeah, it's so
Like,
casual.
it's just normal.
Yeah, it's normal. The New York hustle is so normal, because you're like, oh, you're working 3 jobs, and the person will be like, yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do, and that's it. People just work so hard here. It's great to see, because nobody will be like, there are very few lazy people that you meet here in New York. Everybody's like, oh yeah, work, 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 work. So yeah, that's great. One last thing I wanted to ask you before, like, we sort of leave, we sort of end this, is what are your movie suggestions and TV show suggestions? Because we have had a lot of time indoors, and I'm sure you have watched a few things recently. So, what are your recommendations?
I've known like the Ghibli studio movies. I've heard like I've seen like pieces of them, and like I've heard like for a long time from my sister and from like other friends how great they are and how like uplifting they are. But I never wanted to watch them for that purpose. Like I really wanted to like save them for like days where I really need a good movie.
Right.
And I recently just my first one, which was Spirited Away. And that movie has been amazing, like so much that I like been thinking about it for weeks. It was like the world that was created in that movie is just so amazing. Another movie that comes to my mind is I think the Florida Project. I've seen it a while, but I really like it. I really like how different it is and how it's not following like a, like a narrative structure of like, oh, something happens and then you try to solve it, and whether the hero or not succeed in like doing it. I think it's what movies. I mean, I think it does the job of a movie, which is telling you a story, telling you like a feeling of, and like transmitting to you like what it's like to be in that character's like situation.
Right.
TV shows. I don't know. Like I've been really like enjoyed the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah.
But that's just like I just loved how it made me feel like I was living in the 50s and 60s. Like the job they did on that show, like when it comes to like production design, is just like amazing. Like all the little details that they brought, like all the extras they dressed and like did the hair for them. It's just like amazing. I really feel like I was in the '60s back again. Um, TV show. Like I want to remember. Like I think I just seen like a good TV show during this quarantine. I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Um, what was it? I don't know. Like I've also been watching a lot of Doctor House.
Yeah, that's a
I
fun
don't
show
know.
to
Like
watch.
I've been hearing about Doctor House, but like it's just like I like how it's like it tells you a little. I mean, what I like heard was that all the situations like that are in Doctor House are plausible, so it's
Hmm.
not like completely fake. So
Right.
it's like it got me like a new perspective to like look at the human body, like it's like a some sort of machine, and you just like fix things in the human body.
Right.
I don't know. There's like a lot of movies that are good. There's just so many out there. I I don't know. Like I would like to talk about like a website called Letterboxd that
Okay.
I know it's like a lot of people know about it, but that website is like great for like encouraging you to like watch more movies. I've been like I have a watch list there, and every time like when I see one and I get to like click on watched, I just
Hmm.
like that feeling.
Yeah.
If it's like a
Right.
game and you're like, oh, I'm gonna watch every movie ever made.
Right. 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 Hmm. I get that. Yeah. Okay. So one last thing. I wanted to ask if you had anything to ask me before we wrap up.
You had told me before. I didn't think of that.
It's fine. It's fine.
Give me a minute. Why do you like making YouTube videos? Like, what makes you like wake up in the morning or like go outside with your camera and make like a video about anything? Like, I've seen like you made videos about a range of like topics and things. So, what pushes you like to go outside and like film it and then come back home and edit it?
Okay, so I initially all this video affection comes from Casey Neistat, and you watch what he does, and then you're like, okay, what the hell did I just watch, and why? How can I make this? And when I was just watching it back in 2015 or 16, I was like, okay, how is this possible? How will I be able to do it? And for the longest time, I was camera shy, but now I'm just slowly learning to talk properly in front of camera. So now, even now, I don't make a lot of videos, but I just feel like we are creating memories every single day, and we are not recording them, even though we have the equipment to, and we have the internet. It's when you put it up on the internet, it's always going to be there. And sometimes I feel like a few things that happen in my life, I don't want myself to be the only person to enjoy that. I want other people to see, I want other people to watch what I did. And it's not like I'm flexing or anything. I just want other people to enjoy what I am enjoying. So, and whatever I feel like I don't have a niche on my YouTube channel, I just make whatever I want. That is because I just feel like, okay, these are my views. How do I get my point across to other people? So that I think is the easiest way you can do that, because social media in today's day gives you that power that you can project your opinion and you can keep your opinion on the internet, and people actually sometimes do give feedback. And I also want to help other people with regards to this, because I also want to make helpful videos. So now I am trying to come up with things that will actually help people. So yeah, that has been the inspiration behind making videos, because I've always just loved making videos. And now in quarantine, I don't really get we haven't gotten these professional projects. So the least I can do is make a YouTube video. So that is like I'm fulfilling my desire to make videos, and I'm just being satisfied because, oh, I made something. The feeling of dropping that footage on your edit and just
Yeah.
completing that edit and hitting that publish button on YouTube, it's just a different feeling. I just enjoy it a lot. It feels very satisfactory. I mean, I feel very good when I post a video. And since now that we are not like working professionally, we don't get to work on productions. I feel like making a YouTube video makes me feel amazing.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw like at first like on Instagram, and it popped to me like use Storytime with Advait, the podcast. I was like, yes, you know, what I mean, like yes, I'm really happy you're doing it, and like that's the attitude to have, because I feel like we can do a lot of things, and a lot of times we're like, there's no need to do that. There's no
Yeah,
need to make that when we should be making a lot of things because that's good for us. Like I think we do this because we enjoy like creating something, and we
yeah,
should try to create as much as possible.
yeah. I think like this is work and this is also art. So it just makes me feel so much better. Even and I had the same mindset with this podcast. I wanted to start it in April, but I wanted to do like a proper production, like a proper sit down podcast. But then the pandemic happened and I was just pushing it ahead. So after like July, I was like, no, now I can't push it any further. Now I have to do it. Even if I have to do it on a Zoom call, I will do it. So we are on a Zoom, like we are on a video call right now, and I just thought, you know what? If it's just a conversation, we can have it in person. We can have it online. So
Yeah.
that is why I think we should all just keep creating as much as we can, because we don't realize how much time we are actually spending, and we are making memories. So you might as well film them and put it up on the internet. So it is not just your memory anymore, it's a part of history. So I always look at it like the bigger picture, because you might not find what you're watching interesting. Sometimes even I don't like what I make, but maybe 100 years from now, somebody will watch this video and will be like, yeah, wait, I like that. So I'm not just thinking about myself or the 50 people that are watching my videos. I'm thinking about the bigger picture here, and maybe in 100 years, somebody will find my video entertaining. So let's hope someone does.
That's I don't know. That's like a great way to like look at it.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much, Elias. And this was a great conversation. I always wanted to know more about you and your culture and what inspires you. And we only met for like 2 months in school, and that is when I talked to you. And I actually found you very interesting in school, but we couldn't talk because of the pandemic, and there is only so much we can talk on in between class. So this was great catching up with you after so long. And I can't wait to actually go out and shoot something with you. So let's hope that happens soon. And I hope we get to shoot some really good projects in the coming days. Everybody who's watching or listening, thank you so much if you've watched so far. And consider subscribing to this podcast and to the YouTube channel. Thank you again, Elias, for coming. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.